The wait is over. The 2024 Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship is ready to kick off here at Blyton Park in Lincolnshire for its traditional March opening date. Heavy rain during the morning in the opening rounds of heats has thankfully cleared away in time for the finals. Around 45 cars here across 7 different classes ready to do battle. Drivers have been waiting patiently over the winter, fettling their cars, ready for action. Several new drivers ready to take to the track here at Blyton Park on this Sunday afternoon. Let's have a look at the circuit then. First of all, we're on board with Todd Crooks, the reigning super modified champion in his BMW Mini, leaving the line on this circuit, which is of course a mixture of tarmac and loose surfaces. First run down into the left-hander, which gets tighter and tighter on the tarmac. Swings its way through the tyres and cones and across the old runways here at this former airfield circuit onto the dirt. This is where the track starts to cut up as the day goes on. You can see the BMW Mini bouncing its way over the bumps and then slowing for this left-hander to take the drivers back towards the tarmac through the little chicane and then into the back straight. Todd Crooks defending his super modified title, which he secured in the final round at Knock Hill last year. Another little chicane taking them slightly off the runway on the far side of the circuit. Then the speed opens up down into the left-handed hairpin, overtaking opportunities there on the inside. 180-degree left-hander taking the cars back towards the paddock. It's onto the brakes for the final right-hander. We could see some do-or-die manoeuvres there as they come towards the finish line, and that is a lap off the Blyton Park Driving Centre Rallycross circuit here on the flatlands of Lincolnshire. So we go into our A finals then. First up is the Auto Dynamics modified 4x4 category. It's a match race between reigning champion Thomas Ramanauskas in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 4 and the BMW Mini all-4 countrymen of Southwest-based Max Langmaid. They had a couple of clashes in the heats earlier on. 1 heat win to Max Langmaid and 2 to Thomas Ramanauskas, and they clash again coming through the first corner. A bit of contact there pushing Langmaid out wide. He had a couple of non-finishes in the heats earlier on, so Ramanauskas going for his 3rd consecutive title will start as the favourite here. He leads them around the opening lap in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 4. Car looks to be crabbing a little bit there, so it's had some contact already today. Mitsubishi famous for their rally cars of the late 90s, early 2000s, of course. Well, the BMW Mini All-4 project started by David Bell. We'll see him out in a different category in another car today. And Max Langmaid getting a bit crossed up there, loses some ground coming out of the hairpin. And it is Thomas Ramanauskas, the Lithuanian, who leads the way, looking to retain his title once again this year. Hopefully see numbers rise in the modified 4x4 category this year with their new sponsor Auto Dynamics. Max Langmaid has a look on the inside there as they come down towards turn 1 to start the second lap. Now switches to the outside. Now moving back towards the inside. He's sold in the dummy there, tries to get the inside. They bang wheels, and it's the Mini that tries to take the lead. There's contact again, heavier contact coming out of the turn. Well, this is really kicking off. Across the grass goes the Mitsubishi and wallop into the side of Max Langmaid. What are these two doing? This is Rallycross, not banger racing, and I think Langmaid lost his steering there. They both go off. I think Langmaid's out of it. Goodness me, what was all that about? Well, they've really come to blows in this A final for the Auto Dynamics and MRF Tyres 4x4 modified category. Langmaid's trying to get going again, but away goes Ramanauskas, the car crabbing out of line even more now. I think the rear suspension might be bent. But he's managing to keep it going. Is Langmaid still going, though? I'm not too sure. Could be that Ramanauskas is going to finish this race on his own. Yes, I think Langmaid has stopped, the former mini stocks racer from the southwest of England. Look at the state of Thomas Ramanauskas' car. Well, proof that you only need 2 cars to have a decent motor race, but unfortunately that one's boiled over a bit. A fair bit of contact between the two of them. And here comes Ramanauskas. He's on his final lap now. He's going to be the only finisher in our modified 4x4 final, sponsored by Auto Dynamics in partnership with MRF Tyres, the new tyre partner for the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship this season. In this already very battered Mitsubishi, it's going to be a win for Thomas Ramanauskas. Round towards the right-hander for the final time, up towards the checkered flag. Oh, what a bruising first A final of the season. Ramanauskas, the only man to take the checkered flag. Max Langmaid out of it. That was a very bruising encounter indeed. It certainly kicked off big time between those two. There is Max Langmaid's car, or what's left of it, after that A final. Well, Thomas Ramanauskas was in fact excluded from the results for causing that collision on the second lap. Max Langmaid a non-finisher, so officially no finishers to our modified 4x4 A final. Now we move on to the super modified division, sponsored by SG Haulage. In the heats, there were 3 different winners. Gary Cook in the Ford Fiesta lines up on the second row of the grid. Heat 1 was won by Phil Chicken in the Citroen C2. The other heat winner was Todd Crooks in the BMW Mini. Great start by David Bell in his BMW Mini from the second row. A bit of bumping and boring on this big grid, and it's Crooks who gets away best in the black car. 3 wide for second place. In the middle is David Bell, and wallop Stephen Ratu in the MG ZR goes straight into the back of Cameron Whitley in the VW Polo Turbo. Oh dear, another chaotic first quarter, but it's Todd Crooks who leads. BMW Minis 1 and 2. David Bell is in second place. Johnny Crisp up there in third in the Citroen Saxo. In the background, Stephen Ratu's bonnet's come open after that earlier contact. He comes to a halt. That could be him out of the race after that contact with Cameron Whitley, but it's Crooks and Bell who have gone clear. Johnny Crisp under fire from the Citroen C2s of father and son pairing Phil Chicken and Corey Paget, making the move up from junior rallycross last season. Cameron Whitley behind them. Then it's the Mercedes SLK of Richard Moore and Gary Cook at the back of the field in his Wearer Tools sponsored Ford Fiesta ST. He had a heat win earlier on, was 4th in the other 2. Heat 1 was won by Phil Chicken. It was Todd Crooks who won heat number 2. Phil Chicken's first and second in heats 1 and 3, enough to get in pole position for this A final. But a flying start we saw by David Bell. Moving up on the inside there, the big Mercedes of Richard Moore gets past Cameron Whitley in the Polo, but he's collected a road cone there. Richard Moore underneath the front of his Mercedes, and Johnny Crisp is hooked aside there. Contact with Corey Paget. So Johnny Crisp, the former Ford KA racer in the production category, has recovered the Saxo and is still going and tries to return the compliment there, attacking Corey Paget. Well, it's clearly first day back at school for these drivers, isn't it? We saw chaos in the A final for the modified 4x4s, and now in the SG Haulage Super Modified category, it's a bit of bumping and boring as well. Todd Crooks is away in the lead ahead of David Bell. We saw David in his All-4 Mini in the 4x4 category last season, moving to Super Modified this year. Third place in his Rallycross veteran Phil Chicken in his Citroen C2. His son Corey Paget's there in the similar C2 is in 4th. Then Johnny Crisp, Cameron Whitley, Gary Cook, Richard Moore has dropped to the back of the field. Stephen Ratu, a first lap casualty after he hit the back of Cameron Whitley on the first corner. So things settling down somewhat now in this Super Modified A final. One or two cars with the wipers going. There may still be some drops of rain in the air possibly. Had a lot of water on the course for the opening round of heats earlier on today here at Blyton. Thankfully, things clearing up for the A finals. They passed Stephen Ratu's stranded MG ZR. Made a return to the championship at the end of last season. Cameron Whitley used to campaign a Ford Focus in the production category. Now in Super Modified with his Polo, debuted last year, and he goes past Johnny Crisp in the Saxo. This is the battle for 4th position. Gary Cook under fire. The Wearer Tools Fiesta nearly ploughs off, getting a push there from Johnny Crisp. In the Saxos, drop further ground on the back of the circuit. They come back towards the paddock through the hairpin. Crisp up the inside, side by side with Cook, the college lecturer at the wheel of the Wearer Tools Fiesta. Running mate of Alex Fletcher, the reigning production champion. We'll see him out a little later on. Moving up the inside as well, Richard Moore in the Mercedes SLK. Had just one A final win last year. I think the SLK is in trouble there. He's slowing down. Yes, he's pulling into the paddock. So the SLK, a fast but fragile car, out of the race. Great shame for Richard. Todd Crooks is out in front of all this and probably wondering where everyone else has got to, except for David Bell. There he is. Todd Crooks, the defending Super Modified champion, secured that in a very close fight with Phil Chicken at the end of last season. Of course, it was Fred Ling who won the overall championship, but having won overall, he couldn't win Super Modified as well, because it's the rules of the BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Each driver can only win one title each year. Fredling not out today. We're waiting to see if he's going to return in subsequent rounds to make a title defence. Here comes Phil Chicken attacking David Bell for second place. Through the paddock section to complete another lap. We're on the penultimate lap of this 6-lap A final now for the SG Haulage Super Modified Championship. Side by side for second place. Phil Chicken has a go around the outside. Oh, no, you don't, says David Bell. Very experienced rallycrosser, as was his father, Tony. Used to campaign a Toyota Corolla WRC, Tony Bell, in the British Championship. David, a specialist in BMW Minis. Phil Chicken fighting away there, but he goes out too wide onto the dirt and drops away by a few car lengths. Good fight, though, between these two for second place, but all the time they're dropping away from Todd Crooks, who's going to open his title defence with a victory, barring any mechanical maladies with his BMW Mini. Last season it was Fredling who did the winning in Super Modified, of course. He went on to take the overall title in his Ford Fiesta in a tie-break with Lee Wood from the Pre-95 Classic Division after they finished on the same score. Todd Crooks into his final lap now. Lives in Tamworth in Staffordshire. His wife Jordine is the coordinator for this BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Does a lot of work off track, an occasional competitor herself as well. We've seen her out a couple of times in the production category. Gary Cook all over the tail of the Saxo of Johnny Crisp. Bash as they come into the final corner. Crisp gets away with it. That Saxo's taken a few knocks in this race, and I think Gary Cook has not got away with that. Now he's slowed up. He's going into the paddock, and the earlier heat winner is out of the race. We said first day back at school. This really has been smash bang wallop in both classes we've seen so far. Todd Crooks keeping his head, while it has to be said a few others have been losing theirs. Comes out of the hairpin for the final time, and the reigning Super Modified champion is going to kick off his title defence in the best possible fashion. Here he comes into the right-hander, up towards the checkered flag. Todd Crooks wins the Super Modified Championship opener. Well back in second place, looks like it's going to be David Bell. A good battle with Phil Chicken. The BMW Mini comes home ahead of the Citroen. Corey Paget on his debut in Super Modified. The junior graduate is going to take a fine fourth place ahead of Cameron Whitley in the Polo. And the only other finisher, I think, is going to be Johnny Crisp in what's left of his Citroen Saxo. So a pretty rough and tumble race there for the Super Modifieds. Todd Crooks the winner by nearly 9 seconds over David Bell. Good fight with Phil Chicken. They finish half a second apart. Then Paget, Whitley and Crisp, the other finishers. We lost Gary Cook, Richard Moore and Stephen Ratu. In the BMW Mini category, there were problems for reigning champion Ben Sayer. Collision with Lynn Llewellyn on the first corner of the first start of the race sent him spinning into the tyre wall. And unfortunately, the 77 car of Sayer not able to make the restart after the red flags came out. David Ellis had taken 2 heat wins, so he was on pole in the number 4. We'll try again with the Bone Street Autos BMW Minis. And Dave Ellis, 2 heat wins. The other heat was won by Ben Sayer. He's not on the grid for this restart. And it's Lynn Llewellyn, the Welsh veteran who returned to Rallycross last year after over 30 years out of the sport, who takes up the lead. Alan Laidler running wide there at the back. It's Llewellyn who leads ahead of David Ellis in the Proctor's coach's car. The blue car of Harvey Harman in third place. Then it's Wesley Wickens in fourth position. Gus Glass rounding out the top five. These identical 1600cc supercharged BMW Minis. Side by side for the lead. David Ellis up alongside Lynn Llewellyn. Is he going to take the lead? There's a little bit of rubbing between the two of them as they go through the chicane on the back straight. It's Ellis that takes it up as they go down towards the hairpin for the first time. Moving up on the outside is Wesley Wickens, and Gus Glass locks up under braking and spins. He spins to a halt on the entry to the hairpin. It's David Ellis who's just about got the lead. Here comes Harvey Harman up the outside in the blue machine. Dave Ellis just about holding the lead. The number 4, sponsored by Proctor's Coaches, owned by former Rallycross star Kevin Proctor. Now concentrates mainly on rallying. And here comes Lynn Llewellyn coming out of the last corner there up towards turn 1. He's going to take the lead on the inside. Llewellyn accelerates his way into the lead. He's lost the front bodywork off his BMW Mini in that collision with Ben Sayer first time out. It's Llewellyn who leads the way. Local to the Pembrey circuit in South Wales. The championship visits there next month. Llewellyn with 2 seconds and a third across the heats earlier on. Ellis had 2 wins and a fifth. The best 2 results out of the 3 heats are counted towards your grid position for the final in BTRDA Rallycross. Harvey Harman got 2 thirds and a fourth. Start to spread out a little in this 6-lap A final for the Bone Street Autos BMW Minis in partnership with MRF Tyres. Harman runs a little bit wide there. Wesley Wickens in 4th place, the former esports competitor. He's there in 4th position, had a couple of wins last year. Further behind them is Alan Laidler in 5th position. Looks like we've lost Gus Glass. No, he's still going. My apologies. There he is in 6th place after his spin earlier on. They're fairly well spread out now around this Blyton Park driving centre course owned by the Ginetta Sports Car Company. All their testing is done here. There's plenty of track days held on the tarmac circuit throughout the year as well as Rallycross. Wesley Wickens in 4th place. Had a 2nd and 2 fourths in the heats earlier on in the K-Seal Cup. And David Ellis up alongside. A mistake there by Lynn Llewellyn. Is he going to lose the lead? No, he's not. He's made a bit of a slip up there through the chicane, but the veteran Welshman holds on to the lead. Accelerates away down the runway from David Ellis. Swing their way into the hairpin once again. David Ellis will certainly be a championship contender this year. Has shown a very good turn of pace over the last couple of seasons. So has Harvey Harman. Could Lynn Llewellyn spring a few surprises? Hadn't done Rallycross since the 1980s before his return at Pembrey as a one-off last season and promptly won the final. So he has the pace. We're on the last lap now here in this Bone Street Autos BMW Mini A final. It is Lynn Llewellyn, just a couple of lengths clear of David Ellis. If anything, has increased his lead somewhat coming over the very cut-up infield section. You can see how bumpy it is through there. In the background, you can also see the Blyton jump no longer used by the Rallycross drivers. Harvey Harman under a bit of pressure from Wesley Wickens. Alan Laidler and Gus Glass round out the field further back. Alan, the former production competitor with the Citroen Saxo. David Ellis running a little bit wide there on the run into the hairpin. He's not going to catch the 611 car of Lynn Llewellyn. It's going to be a win for Wales here at Blyton Park. Here he comes. Down into the final corner, up towards the checkered flag. Lynn Llewellyn opens his account in the BMW Mini category ahead of David Ellis. They are clear of Harvey Harman, who will hold on for 3rd ahead of Wes Wickens. Alan Laidler should be in to complete the top 5. Here comes the 744, loving the eyes on the headlights. Great entertainer is Alan. He comes in for 5th position. Looks like we may have lost Gus Glass there. We'll confirm the results of that Bone Street Autos BMW Mini A final. 1.25 seconds, the winning margin for Lynn Llewellyn ahead of David Ellis. And Harvey Harman holding off Wesley Wickens for 3rd. Alan Laidler, the final finisher. We lost Gus Glass. And, of course, Ben Sayer didn't take the restart. Next up, it's the MOT Group production category. 4 cars out there today, and there were 3 different heat winners. Mark Henry in the Alfa Romeo 147, Martin Peters in the Citroën Saxo, and reigning champion Alex Fletcher in the Honda Civic. And it's Fletcher who gets away well in the Wera Tools-sponsored Civic. The reigning production champion takes up the lead. Mark Henry tries to go around the outside, runs a bit deep into the left-hander there. Martin Peters Saxo in third, and Dan Griffiths in the Citroën C2 rounding out the field. Slightly lower than expected entry in the production category. Hopefully grids will rise as the season goes on. Mark Henry, whose efforts to take the title last year were rather thwarted by a broken gearbox in 2023 in the penultimate round at Pembrey. It's the Wera Tools Honda Civic of Alex Fletcher in the Loughborough College prepared car, who leads the way. Into the hairpin they go. Martin Peters, last year's championship runner-up, in third place in the Saxo ahead of the Citroën C2 of Dan Griffiths. I think that's the ex-Tom Brooks car, the Formula E commentator who has competed occasionally in this series over the years. They come round to complete the opening lap. Dan Griffiths 4th place in all 3 heats today, so looking for some improvements here into a podium position. First lap completed. It is Alex Fletcher who leads the way. He's come back to racing over the last few years after beating cancer after a brave fight, so fair play to Alex, who's fought against more than most to go racing. Car prepared by his students at Loughborough College. Alex, one of their lecturers. Chased hard here by Mark Henry, the Buckinghamshire driver, in the Alfa Romeo 147, the only one of its kind competing in Rallycross. He's right on the bumper there of the Honda Civic now. Further back, the 2 Citroens. And Mark Henry opened his season with, I think would only be the second A final win of his career in the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. He'll have a look into the hairpin. He won't quite get up the inside there. He keeps pushing on the exit. Get off, says Alex Fletcher. He's gone out onto the grass, and Henry will go through to take the lead. Alex Fletcher forced out onto the grass there. He could lose second because Martin Peters having a go on the inside into the last corner. Yes, he goes through. Alex Fletcher will be fired up there to try and fight back up the order. So it's Mark Henry who leads in the Alfa Romeo. You tend to see many Alfa Romeos in motorsport outside of touring cars. Of course, they have their Formula One team over the last few seasons, the rebranded Saubers. See it again here. Fletcher just getting a push there from the Alfa Romeo. Out onto the grass he goes. And Henry takes up the lead. I think Fletcher was perhaps just a little bit slow off the hairpin there. Mark Henry maybe wasn't expecting that. Couple of laps to go. Martin Peters now up to second in the Citroën Saxo, and they've rather spread out a little. Mark Henry has pulled away. Great to see the Alfa Romeo running to its full potential here. Sure, Mark's family are here cheering him on. It is very much a friendly family sport, Rallycross. See a little bit of damage to the rear bumper on Alex Fletcher's car, rather. These 3 clear of Dan Griffiths, learning his craft in the Citroën C2 a little bit further back. But he'll be on the pace as the season goes on, I'm sure. We're on the last lap now of this MOT Group MRF Tyres Production A final. A little bit of smoke there from one of the cars as they fight for second place. Peters under fire from Fletcher, who's trying to fight back. Martin Peters leading the subclass for the 1600cc cars. Mark Henry and Alex Fletcher in the 2-litre category. There are subclasses based on engine size in all the categories here today. It looks like it is going to be a win for the Alfa Romeo of Mark Henry. Through the final hairpin. Peters and Fletcher just have to battle it out among themselves. And yes, Martin Peters' Saxo smoking a little there again through the hairpin, as is Fletcher. I think there was a bit of tyre smoke there possibly, but it's going to be Mark Henry who comes in to take the first production A final of the season. There's the checkered flag. Henry wins it. Peters second, Fletcher third, and further back in fourth will be Dan Griffiths. Hopefully we'll see numbers rise in the MOT Group production category, aimed at the newcomer to Rallycross as the season progresses. So it is Mark Henry who takes the win by just over 2.5 seconds. Martin Peters holding off Alex Fletcher for second place as he tries to recover from that bit of contact. And Dan Griffiths in the Citroën C2 completing the finishes. Now onto the grid, it's the Melius Limited Pre-95 Classic A final. 2 heat wins for Jamie McBain in the Peugeot 205, giving him pole position. Mark Jones in the Toyota MR2 won the other heat, and he takes the lead as they head down towards the first corner. Alan Tapscott, the man from the southwest, in the Mark II Escort, up in a second. McBain, not the best of starts there. It's a new car, that Peugeot 205 for this year. He's down to third. Dan Swayland is next in the Mark I Escort. Then Tom Edmonds in the Corsa and Helen Crooks in the Mini, completing the 6-car grid. No Lee Wood out for this round, the champion from last year in the Classic division, and lost the overall championship on a tie break, but hopefully we'll see his Mark II Escort back later in the season. Jamie McBain moving up the inside, side by side with Alan Tapscott for second place. They bounce off each other into the chicane. Mark Jones, the Welshman, leads the way in the Marks Motors MR2. Alan Tapscott up there in second in the classic shape of the Mark II Escort. Dan Swayland not far away in his Mark I either. Good to have Thomas Edmonds back out as well in the Corsa. Had a big accident at the final round of the championship at Knockhill in Scotland last year. He's just taken 4th place from Dan Swayland coming out of the hairpin. The Escort a little crossed up there. And Helen Crooks, the mother of our super modified winner Todd Crooks, at the back in her Classic Mini. Main battle is going to be for second place, I think, here, because Mark Jones' MR2, a very, very rapid car in a straight line. He's already starting to pull away. Didn't have a lot of luck in last year's championship, the Toyota pilot, based in South Wales, not far from Pembrey. Alan Tapscott from down in Devon used to campaign a Corsa in the Super Modifieds, up there in second place. And Jamie McBain with his new 205 chasing on. Been doing a bit of rallying over the winter period to keep his hand in another 205. Tom Edmonds with the Corsa up there in 4th, holding off Dan Swayland, who had a great season last year in the Mark I Escorts. Through to complete lap number 4 then, it is still the Marks Motors MR2 that leads the way. Jamie McBain in his familiar green Peugeot 205 GTI, trying to close in. Tapscott having a look here as they come down towards turn 1. McBain's there on the outside, certainly closing up for the lead here. Well, I thought Mark Jones was going to pull away over the course of this race, but they are certainly matching the MR2 for pace in this opening round of the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship season, the Melius Limited Pre-95 Classic category. We'll see entries rise in this category as well over the season. Hopefully we'll have Lee Wood back, as we've already said. David Ewan will be back out as well with the Fiesta Evo, busy with commitments on his farm at the moment. Through the chicane on the penultimate lap of this Melius Limited Pre-95A final. Alan Tapscott having a look on the inside. Can he get a run here into the hairpin? He squeezes down the inside. Can he get the car stopped? Just about there. The Escort takes the lead, but he gets himself crossed up on the exit. And Mark Jones says, thank you very much, I'll take the lead back again. Oh, Alan Tapscott, that was a brave move there into the hairpin. And in the background, Tom Edmonds has got through to third as well. So it's all change almost there. Edmonds up to third in the Corsa as they come round to start the final lap. McBain down to 4th. Swayland is 5th. It's all happening. 5 of them going for the lead. This is brilliant. Up the outside comes the Corsa. Up the inside comes Tapscott. He lunges in. He pushes Tom Edmonds into the tyres. Oh, dear. It's boiled over a bit there. Tom Edmonds tries to get the Corsa going in, but it looks like his steering's broken. That's a shame for Tom Edmonds. He's out of the race. And Alan Tapscott resumes second place. Dan Swayland's got through as a result of that little melee into third place as well. We've seen a fair number of melees today. And things may not be as heated in the second round at Pembrey. As we say, the drivers have been a little bit too eager to get back into action, it has to be said, after the winter break. Alan Tapscott's not finished yet. Can he get down the inside into the hairpin and make it stick this time? Mark Jones, no, he's wise to him this time. Covers the inside. Well, this has much been the race of the day so far. The Classic A final. Now, it looks like it is going to be another win for Wales. Been a good day for the Welsh drivers. Lynn Llewellyn winning the BMW Minis, and now Mark Jones is going to win the Pre-95 Classic division. He takes the checkered flag. Second for Alan Tapscott, just ahead of fellow Escort pilot Dan Swayland. Jamie McBain, the pole sitter in that race, ends up 4th. And with the loss of Tom Edmonds, it's going to be Helen Crooks who will come in for 5th position in her Classic Mini, the only Mini that we see in the category these days, just coming through the hairpin. We also used to see Ian Clark quite successful in a Classic Mini. Ian is here, but in a non-racing capacity today. And Helen Crooks couldn't quite match her son Todd's success, but she does come in for P5 in the Mini and second in subcategory A behind Dan Swayland. Well, certainly an entertaining affair there, the Melius Limited Pre-95 Classic A final. Let's have a look at that incident again. Alan Tapscott up the inside. Contact with the back of Tom Edmonds in the Corsa. Edmonds into the tyres. That unfortunately broke his steering, and he was unable to complete the race. But it's Jones who takes the win by just over half a second ahead of Alan Tapscott, and half a second further back, Dan Swayland wins his subclass in third. Jamie McBain, the pole sitter, and Helen Crooks completing the finishers. Five Suzuki Swifts on the grid for the AVM Mobile Mechanic Junior category. 2 heat wins for Ben Bartlett in the number 444 have given him pole position. The other heat went to Ty Ratton in car number 244. Hayden Harris, Teddy McPherson and Elliot Fuster complete the grid. Away go the young guns, the under-16s, down towards the first corner. Side by side between Ben Bartlett and Ty Ratton for the lead. Ratton trying to get around the outside. Third place is 119 of Teddy McPherson in the grey car. And then side by side between Harris and Fuster for fourth. But it's Ben Bartlett, who was fourth in the championship last year, who takes up the lead. Big three from last year have moved on. We've already seen Corey Paget. The other two were Tyler McAlpin and Will Ovenden. A bit of pushing and shoving there, and Ty Ratton goes wrong side of the cones. I think they're coming through the chicane. Bartlett still has the lead, or does he? Because here comes Ty Ratton on the inside, on the back of the circuit, and Ty Ratton takes up the lead in the 244 car as the sun comes out here at Blyton Park, down towards the hairpin. Ratton leads it from Bartlett. It's Teddy McPherson up there in third place. Elliot Fuster, number 707, is in fourth position, and Hayden Harris at the back of the field, one of our newcomers in car number 999. So a lot of these drivers new to Rallycross here today. Ben Bartlett, the most experienced man on the grid, as we said, we saw him finish in fourth place in the championship last year. It's Will Ovenden who went on to take the title ahead of Tyler McAlpin. They were never more than a few feet apart on track all season. They've now moved on to greater things, who as Corey Paget has done, as we've already seen in the super modified class with his father. Side by side for third place, here comes Elliot Fuster on the outside of Teddy McPherson. Saw him make a couple of appearances last year. Here comes Hayden Harris in the blue and yellow, the Subaru World Rally Team lookalike Suzuki. Suzuki had a World Rally Team briefly in the early 2000s as well, with those bright yellow Suzuki SX4s. Only lasted 1 or 2 years. The two leaders have gone clear. Ty Ratton ahead of Ben Bartlett. Ty Ratton had a win and 2 seconds in the heats earlier on. Ben Bartlett had 2 heat wins and failed to finish in the other. Teddy McPherson had 3 third places. Hayden Harris 2 fourths and a fifth, and Elliot Fuster a second, fourth and fifth. Swing their way through past the paddock. Still the number 244 of Ratton that leads the way, holding off Ben Bartlett. This is an impressive debut in the championship for Ty Ratton. McPherson holding that third place. Here comes Elliot Fuster having a look on the outside. bouncing over the loose section here at Blyton Park. These identical 1300cc Suzuki Swifts. We have occasionally seen other cars in the junior category. We've seen a VW Lupo, a Nissan Micra, a Citroen C2 of Harvey Hutchinson last season as well. Sadly, that car got damaged in a crash at Knock Hill. Still Ratton leads. Main focus is his battle for third place, with Teddy McPherson holding off the white car of Elliot Fuster. But McPherson's gone wide there, coming out of the hairpin. I think he'll lose that third position. Yes, the 707 car of Elliot Fuster goes through. Just behind them now is Hayden Harris in the blue, number 999. Coming towards the closing stages now, and still the main focus is this battle for third, fourth and fifth. Harris trying to close up on McPherson. If anything, the 707 car of Elliot Fuster is pulling away slightly after that slight mistake earlier for McPherson. He just ran wide coming out of the hairpin onto the grass. Still Ty Ratton looking for his first ever A-final victory ahead of Ben Bartlett. They come out of the hairpin down towards the paddock corner once again. Here they come. Ty Ratton about to go into his final lap of this AVM junior category in association with MRF Tyres and the MOT Group. Running a bit wide there. They both run wide, just dropping a wheel over the curb. Still clear of Elliot Fuster. I'm sure this little group will be as close fought as the likes of Ovenden, McAlpin and Paget last season. Ben Bartlett's finally out of their shadow, but has he met a new match here in Ty Ratton? The Anglo-Irish racer comes through the chicane for the last time. Out onto the back straights. Used to be all the way down the straight here after coming off the jump, but now they go through this extra little section on the far side of the course before powering down the runway towards the hairpin. This course redesigned over the last couple of years. It's going to be Ty Ratton in car number 244. Down towards the final corner he comes. Ben Bartlett dropping back from him. And it's going to be a first ever A-final win. A brilliant performance by Ty Ratton takes the win. Bartlett comes over in second. And who's going to be third? It's going to be Elliot Fuster third over the line. Fourth will be Teddy McPherson. And fifth for... No, Hayden Harris has got through, in fact, for fourth there, just ahead of McPherson. Well, I can tell you there have been a couple of changes to the results. Unfortunately, Ty Ratton getting a penalty for that little bit of corner cutting after contact on the opening lap. So Ben Bartlett inherits the victory. And Elliot Fuster also got a 5-second penalty for jumping the start. And he drops to fifth. On to the cross cars then. The most numerous category here today. The SGS Welding Gases FIA cross cars. David Kane on his debut with 2 heat wins. The red buggy, he's on pole. Richard Rees, number 55, the blue and black car, won the other heats. And they howl their way down towards the first corner. Full field of 10 of them out there. Now, who's going to come out of this with the lead? Rees has got away well in the number 55. David Kane has dropped back into the pack. Oh, he's been run over. What has happened there? Now, that's Liam McMullen goes over the top of David Kane. Frantic first corner then for these little 600 or 850cc motorcycle engine buggies. They start to sort themselves out, but the pole sitter David Kane, the double heat winner, has been substantially delayed. Liam McMullen gets a knock there from 424 of Ethan Rouse. There's cones flying everywhere. As they head round the back of the circuit, it's Richard Rees who's got the lead. Jack Newman in number 6 in second, and Gareth Greer is in third position. Reigning champion Will Butler's in there somewhere. There he is, the treble 1 car, alongside 47 of Dominic Flitney. Used to compete in a Subaru Impreza in bigger things in Rallycross. There's one car stopped on the far side. That's Liam McMullen, legacy of that collision with David Kane on the first turn. Pause for breath as they complete their opening lap. The cross cars have had a lot of expansion over the winter. They appeared in the live arena at the Autosport International Racing Car Show at the NEC in Birmingham in January. These howling motorcycle engine machines, 600 or 850cc engines, and a number of different makes coming into the series as well now. We've got the Yakar Cross SXC chassis, a couple of those out there, the Life Live TN5, Also the speed car Wonder and the French-built Mygale, more famous for their Formula Ford chassis. Richard Rees is driving a Mygale. He's leading the way. There's David Kane in the MV Racing machine, another new make for this year. Chasing Will Butler. Just ahead of them is the 47, which is Dominic Flitney. 424 Ethan Rouse behind them. A lot of newcomers out there this weekend. We've already lost one of them, sadly, Liam McMullen. We see him standing in the background, out of his car, out of the race. There is Will Butler, who snatched the championship by a single point last season after an overtake on the final lap of the last race at Knockhill to defeat David Attiwell in the points. Dominic Flitney, a bit of bodywork hanging off there, the wheel arch hanging off the 47 after some contact earlier on. But it's Richard Rees who continues to lead ahead of Jack Newman in car number 6. Gareth Greer, number 721, is in third place. Will Butler under fire from the recovering number 581 of David Kane. Also in there is the number 73. There he is, Max Weatherly, the ex-junior rallycrosser, ex-modified class racer. Used to campaign a Suzuki Swift. Saw him have a couple of wins last year in his Life Live TN5. Very popular in France and Spain, these little machines as well. More contact. That's David Kane again, getting involved with Dominic Flitney. As he tries to fight his way back up the order. Ethan Rouse and Stephen Burke rounding out the field. Trying to get the cut back there, David Kane. The next corner is a left-hander. Will he get the overlap? Yes, he does, and gets through. It's still Rees from Newman. There is Richard Rees in the Mygale. The French-built machine leads the way. See the suspension working away on these little machines over the bumps. They may look unorthodox, but they are very entertaining. David Kane out of shape again. He's had a wild A final. Got run over on the first turn by Liam McMullen. Chasing down the reigning champion, Will Butler. Out on the far side, there's Gareth Greer. He's in third place. Looks like it's Weatherly fourth, Butler fifth, Kane is sixth. Still Rees from Newman out front. Here comes Will Butler. Here comes David Kane up the inside, and Butler gets forced out wide. Kane makes up another place. His next target is Max Weatherly in the 73. Mad Max, as we call him. Swing their way through the right-hander. Leader already into his fifth lap. The two leaders are well clear, Rees and Newman. Greer holding off Weatherly for third. Then Kane's up to fifth. There is Gareth Greer, number 721. That's one of the speed car Wonder machines, chased by Max Weatherly's Life Live TN5. 47 car looking increasingly second-hand, and it spins out. That's Dom Flitney gone. Well, both his rear wheel arches were hanging off. And looks like he could be out of the race. Ethan Rouse goes through. Max Weatherly has almost caught Gareth Greer, number 721, for third place. Well, hugely entertaining, the little FIA cross cars, as always. And the biggest field in the paddock here today. We had to have a B final earlier on as well, with the top two qualifying through into the A final. And off goes David Kane, straight through the cones into the right-hander there. Oh dear, he's got a couple of cones stuck under his car. That was more like 10-pin bowling than Rallycross. A strike through the cones there. Poor old David Kane. Tangled on the first turn, and now goes through the cones. It looks like he's not even going to finish. We're on the final lap now. It's Richard Rees with a clear lead. It's Dom Flitney and Stephen Burke with the two to qualify through the B final earlier on. But it's an A final win coming up for Richard Rees on his debut in the championship in the number 55, the only French-built Mygale on the grid. And it's certainly proved very effective indeed. He has led all the way, had a heat win earlier on as well. And he's going to open the championship in style. Richard Rees comes down towards the final corner, swings his way in and takes the checkered flag. Richard Rees wins the FIA Cross Car A final, sponsored by SGS Welding Gases. Second place will go to Jack Newman, another newcomer. And it's going to be, I think, yes, a clean sweep of the podium for the newcomers, because Gareth Greer will take third ahead of Max Weatherly. Reigning champion Will Butler is next, then Ethan Rouse. And here comes the number 32. We saw him have a spin earlier on. Stephen Burke, qualified through the B final, throws his Yakar Cross SXC out of the chicane there. A wild ride for number 32, Stephen Burke. I don't know whether he's got some suspension damage there. The thing doesn't seem to be handling too well. Maybe he's just power sliding in the approved Rallycross manner to the finish. Goodness me. What a chaotic race. What a chaotic day here at Blyton. Well done to three of our newcomers, locking out the top three places there. Richard Rees taking the win by over 6 seconds ahead of Jack Newman, with Gareth Greer a further 4.7 seconds back in third. Weatherly, Butler, Rouse and Burke completing the finishers. We lost Kane, Flitney and McMullen. Well, that wraps up a very lively first round of the 2024 Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship here at Blyton Park in Lincolnshire. A great entertaining show the drivers have put on, to say the least. They now move on next month to the Pembrey circuit in South Wales, where there's always great entertainment from any form of rallycross. We'll hope to see grid sizes swell even further at the Welsh venue when the championship returns in April. But that's about all from here at Blyton Park. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.